November 1888 by Anton Pavlovich Chekhov. In the November number of the Sieverny Vyasnik, there is an article by the poet Merezhkovsky about your humble servant. It is a long article. I commend to your attention the end of it is characteristic. Merezhkovsky is still very young, a student of science, I believe. Those who have assimilated the wisdom of the scientific method and learned to think scientifically experience many alluring temptations. Archimedes wanted to turn the earth round, and the present-day hotheads want by science to conceive the inconceivable, to discover the physical laws of creative art, to detect the laws and the formulae which are instinctively felt by the artist and are followed by him. In creating music, novels, pictures, etc., such formulae probably exist in nature. We know that a B, C, do, re, mi, fa, sol are found in nature. And so are curves, straight lines, circles, squares, green, blue, and red. We know that in certain combinations, all this produces a melody or a poem or a picture, just as simple chemical substances in certain combinations produce a tree or a stone or the sea. But all we know is that the combination exists while the law of it is hidden from us. Those who are masters of the scientific method feel in their souls that a piece of music and a tree have something in common, that both are built up in accordance with equally uniform and simple laws. Hence the question, what are these laws? And hence the temptation to work out a physiology of creative art like Boborikin, or in the case of younger and more diffident writers, to base their arguments on nature. And on the laws of nature. Merezhkovsky, there probably is such a thing as the physiology of creative art. But we must nip in the bud our dreams of discovering it. If the critics take up a scientific attitude, no good will come of it. They will waste a dozen years, write a lot of rubbish, make the subject more obscure than ever, and nothing more. It is always a good thing to think scientifically, but the trouble is that scientific thinking about creative art will be bound to degenerate in the end into searching for the cells or the centers which control the creative faculty. Some stolid German will discover these cells somewhere in the occipital lobes, another German will agree with him, third will disagree, and a Russian will glance through the article about the cells and reel off an essay about it to the Sieverny Vyasnik. The Vyasnik Evropy will criticize the essay. And for 3 years, there will be in Russia an epidemic of nonsense, which will give money and popularity to blockheads and do nothing but irritate intelligent people. For those who are obsessed with the scientific method, and to whom God has given the rare talent of thinking scientifically, there is to my mind only one way out: the philosophy of creative art. One might collect together all the best works of art that have been produced throughout the ages, and with the help of the scientific method, discover the common element in them, which makes them like one another and conditions their value. That common element will be the law. There is a great deal that works which are called immortal have in common. If this common element were excluded from each of them, a work would lose its charm and its value, so that this universal something is necessary, and is the conditio sine qua non of every work that claims to be immortal. It is of more use to young people to write critical articles than poetry. Merezhkovsky writes smoothly and youthfully, but at every page he loses heart, makes reservations and concessions. And this means that he is not clear upon the subject. He calls me a poet, he styles my stories novelli, and my heroes failures. That is, he follows the beaten track. It is time to give up these failures, superfluous people, etc., and to think of something original. Merezhkovsky calls my monk translators, note Easter Eve, who composes the songs of praise, a failure. But how is he a failure? God grant us all a life like his. He believed in God, and he had enough to eat, and he had the gift of composing poetry to divide men into the successful and the unsuccessful, is to look at human nature from a narrow preconceived point of view. Are you a success or not? Am I? Was Napoleon is your servant Vasily? What is the criterion? One must be a god to be able to tell successes from failures without making a mistake.